You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Go for it, Jim. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks. I am your host, Kyle Gagliardi, and as always, I am joined by my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucker! How we doing, Tuck?
What's going on,
I like how you're gyrating like
Pump
Otis
handle,
would.
baby. Yeah,
You get
big fan.
Get the blood going, get
You
the
got
juices
to.
flowing. You know what? This isn't the. I just saw you, didn't I?
It's been fairly recent. Yeah, Saturday last week, a couple days ago.
When all out, not all out. Full Gear was going on.
Yeah. We, my wife surprised me with a heck of a day. Went indoor skydiving, toured Lagunitas Brewery.
Jealous,
It's not bad. It's a drinking tour.
and it's free, right?
Yeah, free drinking tour.
Now, is that Chicago or is that a suburb?
It's up in Chicago. It wasn't that far away. The iFly was in Lincoln Park, and that was like 10 minutes away or 15. So it's all up there. It's a huge place. Free drinking tour, and most of the tour, you're just sitting in this big tasting room. You probably get like 20 ounces of free beer. So it's not.
See, the only
Not
two
bad.
that I know from Lagunitas are their regular IPA and the little something something. They obviously have more than that, don't they?
Yeah. Brown Sugar was the one that I liked. That's a seasonal. It's a.
Is that like a porter or a stout kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more of a stout. It was good though, and you get to try like 3 or 4, and then you get to pick the one you want to take on with a 10-ounce. But Missa doesn't like beer, so
you
like
got 20
40
ounces of.
I got like 40 ounces of free beer from that tour, double fisting and not asking many questions on their end. But we had some food there and beers, and it was fun. And then we came home, and she drove me all the way to set 'em up in Griffith, and it was awesome. I had no idea.
I was going to say, did you have any idea?
No clue.
I did
No
a pretty
clue.
good job on this show not spilling the
'Cause
beans.
it was we've been mixing it up for a while. You've known for a little bit, and you didn't say a word. My mom kept it quiet. With hats off to her. She's
Right.
a talker. So it was a lot of fun, and was able to catch Full Gear on Sunday.
in its entirety, correct?
Yeah, watched all of it, and life is good.
Yeah. What did you think of Full Gear, by the way?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good show. Maybe not to the level of some of the all out, all in, double or nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it was good. I mean, they're in this spot now where the hype per show is going to be a little bit lower, probably because viewers know another show's coming. They know they've got the weekly episode. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah. And we're going to touch on it a little more later because we're going to finish this week's show with the AEW. Actually, no, we're not going to finish this show with the AEW. We're going to finish it with Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the Wednesday Night Wrestling first. But before that, we got to let the listeners know that we are proudly a part of the Overtime Sports Network at otsportsnetwork.com. Wow.
Ooh.
That was
Man,
in stereo.
We're getting there. It's like you're finishing my...
Sandwiches.
Yep.
Is that what you wanted me to say?
I'm a big boy. So.
Yeah, but hey, I don't
Thick
mind
boy.
food either.
Yeah.
But where on Twitter can you find the Overtime?
If you
Sports
go to
Network?
Twitter, you're going to hit the @ symbol, @_OTSN, all lowercase. There's a character minimum. So that's why
There's
that
a
underscore
5.
is hanging out there.
5
Dumb.
character minimum.
Overtime Sports Network. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, I tried OT Sports Network.
Yeah.
Didn't work. I tried OT Sports. Obviously, it didn't work. And just everything didn't work, so I had to put the underscore in there. So, yeah, if you want to go and check us out there, we got a lot of blogs, a lot of podcasts. And speaking of blogs, I just did another wrestling one, Tuck. Did you check that one out?
Not at all. Let me
Thanks a
hear
lot,
it.
asshole.
I'm busy, man.
Yeah, I know. You're actually doing things unlike me.
When did you publish that one?
This one was yesterday when we heard some breaking news about some guy, Chicago-made CM Punk. That's his name.
CM Punk.
Ever heard of the guy?
I have heard of him. I'm not super familiar with him, though.
You missed the boat on all the Punk stuff, right?
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what. Then you got to see a little bit when I made you do your homework.
Yeah.
with the
was
Money in
awesome.
the Bank match. That's really when the CM Punk hype started. But
And I'm privy to the pipe bomb moment. I've seen that. So I am not one yelling Punk. Well, I am. I yell with everyone else, but it's not from an inspired place when I'm at these shows like most people.
And speaking of the CM Punk chants at shows, they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
They're going to
especially
get louder, probably, yeah.
Especially since we're going to be in Chicago all weekend next weekend. If you didn't hear the news by now, you must be living under a rock or don't have social media or just don't even care about wrestling. CM Punk returned to WWE TV Tuesday night on WWE Backstage.
Yeah, unpromoted too. They didn't push anything. It was a good spot, but I think that's the move, social media wise, to generate some hype.
Oh yeah, I remember I woke up to a text from Aaron. He was like, "CM Punk." I go, "Okay, what the hell does that mean?" It's very vague. I go on to Twitter. He's got like 20,000 retweets, 40,000 likes, and all he said was, "It's as simple as this. Just when they think they have the answers, I change the culture. I will see you next week."
Boom.
What does this mean to you?
I think he's going to get back in the ring.
You do.
I do. Well, and I don't think it's anytime soon, but I do think it's a smart move from WWE's perspective. He's quelled all of the AEW rumors. Now
We do know he officially had a meeting with Tony Khan. I don't know if you saw that report.
I did not see that
He
report.
sat down with him. They were offering him the most money on the roster by far.
Really?
And he said, "You know what? I'm going to go over to Fox." Because that's the thing that I talked about in my blog post, if you check it out on otsportsnetwork.com, is that he technically is employed by Fox. This is not a WWE thing.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, and it's a valid point. There's probably a little bit more Fox money there. I don't know how the numbers are going to match up with him being, and that's why I don't think if the money's there, I don't think it's just a backstage thing. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, we know right now he's being signed on to do that show.
Right.
And he's not going to be on there every week. I saw a report saying that he will sporadically probably just fill in big moments when they probably just want the ratings. Because honestly, before CM Punk, this show's doing 50,000 every Tuesday night.
Yeah,
That's not a lot.
a lot of work for not a lot of return.
No, absolutely. And it's a pretty solid show. Have you ever watched
It is, yeah.
Like Renee Young's
Well done.
great.
It doesn't truly feel like a WWE propaganda piece where they're only. I feel, and I say the same thing with Corey Graves' podcast as well. I do think there is some
Good
freedom,
podcast.
some creative liberties there, because they are critical of stuff and there are critical of moments and spots. So, I think it is a little bit different. I think there is additional content there to be had.
It's
and
realist.
opinions.
It's a realism factor with that show. Like they talk about the slang that you hear, like face and heel and kayfabe. Like those words are thrown around
right
on that show.
When in the reality of the wrestling world, you don't ever hear a wrestler saying, "I'm going heel."
Well, Vince would tear them a new asshole if they
Yeah.
did that. So that makes plenty sense. But you think this opens up a door to returning in the ring?
Well, it's smart, and I think it allows them to nestle up with them and get a little bit closer. So I don't know. I could see it happening.
I would definitely say that now that he is working a WWE-related show,
Right.
it just opens the door even more. So he's going to be around people like Renee Young, Booker T, Paige. All these people are employed by WWE.
Right.
He's going to continue relationships there.
And sitting on the sidelines as a commentator, as a content creator, contributor like that, seeing some of the wrestling that he's going to see not be what he thinks he can give, seeing some guys get shine that he and I don't know, but from an ego standpoint on the side, I could see him wanting to jump in there and mix it up again. Not from a full-time standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. He'd be like a 3 or 4 pay-per-view type show guy, maybe come on a Raw or SmackDown just to hype up that pay-per-view match. But, I mean, he's in his early 40s. With him signing on with WWE Backstage, the chance is there, but there's still that little part of me that's saying, I think Punk has always just wanted to be a commentator. We've seen him on NHL shows, like as a guest. He did the UFC pre-shows and post-shows. Like, he's got such a good personality, and he knows what he's doing with a microphone where sure, he will be working with WWE and have to watch. He's going to get paid to watch the WWE product, which he shit on for about 5 years. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's still that chance that now he can return to the ring. And Survivor Series is in Chicago, Doug.
I know.
Like,
I don't know that he'll make an appearance, but
could you imagine? We're just going to throw this out here. NXT wins the night, majority of the matches when it comes to brand supremacy. Papa H is out there just celebrating with his crew.
Ooh.
CM Punk's music hits. And the story writes itself because Triple H is corporate. He's the guy that he talked crap about for months, years.
Yeah.
Have a match. They could main event WrestleMania with CM Punk and Triple H. It's slim.
Well, and Survivor Series is lining up to be very, very solid. Very solid. So why not put the cherry on top of the cake there?
And you know the reaction wouldn't be greater than in Chicago. Like, there's no other place you can do that where you're going to get a bigger pop.
Right.
He's from Chicago. The CM and CM Punk stands for Chicago made.
Literally, yeah.
So if there is any hope, it's that he can maybe return there. But I'm going to say we probably won't see him for at least a year. I don't know. It's going to take a while if he were to train, get the ring rust off, all that stuff. But the fact that he's with WWE backstage is good for the business. It's going to draw attention to the show, and I'm a fan of it. What about you?
Well, and he talked about, if I get in the ring, the one of his concerns is that people are going to expect the CM Punk from years ago, and he's not that. But that doesn't mean it still can't be special. Chris Jericho's still mixing it up and giving good matches.
And everybody comes back. We've talked about this before. Everybody always comes back. Bruno Sammartino did. The Ultimate Warrior did.
Yeah.
Goldberg did.
The Rock and Roll Express is still hopping over the ropes.
What did he hit that brain buster on? Oh my God! Was it on Santana or Ortiz?
Yeah, I lost it, dude.
I popped too for that. That was pretty wild. But usually that move is like 3/4 of the person giving or taking the move is the one that's controlling it.
Right.
But still to see him shake it up. But regardless, CM Punk is back on WWE TV just with Fox. I'm going to keep reiterating that because there's going to be people out there saying he's with WWE. No. With Fox Sports.
Yes.
So
and he was clear about it too. So
yeah.
Yep.
And we got to assume he's making a good chunk of change to do WWE backstage. So I'm tuning in next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out.
So we'll see what happens there. Maybe
is it later?
10 o'clock our time.
10, that's not that bad.
11 Eastern though. So you got to think of these people on the East Coast. No wonder why they're drawing in 50,000. Like,
yeah.
Who's staying up till 11? That is just like
tough.
a normal person
without a lead in like a game or a SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very rough. But I have it recorded, so I'll be able to check it out. One thing I did check out, and I will continue to check out every single Wednesday,
adamantly,
is NXT.
Oh yeah.
Kick things off with a bang, I guess we could say.
I thought it was a good match. Leo Rush versus Angel Garza put the title on the line. Leo Rush with the family in tow.
Yeah, that was interesting. Nice little touch.
Yeah. I like Leo Rush far more as a wrestler than I did as he was naggy as a manager.
Kind of was the point, though.
Yeah, and it did that.
And it worked. Yeah.
But I really enjoy because coming back, I only knew him as a manager. Realistically,
True.
Wasn't a 205 Live guy, and now to watch him wrestle, it was like, man, they wasted his time for a little bit there. But again, at 205 Live, without the merger to NXT and things like that, you just wouldn't be able to see him. But I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, and I think basically what you were saying is that now that 205 Live is a part of
The
NXT.
Overtime Sports Network?
Oh, I wish. I mean, we'll take what we can get over here at
We'll take
OTSM.
it.
But no, I think that now that they're competing at Full Sail, that crowd is going to be more warming to these cruiserweights. Like,
I think so.
They're going to react to it, and you could tell because people love Angel Garza. His shtick that he has right now is working with the crowd. And Leo Rush is getting a better reaction than he did with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, Bobby.
Come on, man.
But yeah, I agree with you. Very good way to kick off the show. It's fast paced. It's your typical cruiserweight stuff, and very smooth. Everything had its purpose in this match.
I agree.
And it took 2 hours, or not two final hours to win for Leo Rush, which I like because this is a smart way to make Angel Garza look strong. It didn't just take one finishing move, Tug. It took two to finish him off.
Yeah, so that means if we compare the final hour to the stomp, and The Fiend. Looks like Angel Garza's about at 1.5 stomps, probably. You know what I mean?
That's a good way of putting it right there, I guess. But no, Lio Rush retains here. I wasn't expecting Angel Garza to win, but they had a lot of near falls on this match where it made you second guess, like, wait, are they going to pull the trigger?
In front of the fam?
I'm
Right.
like, and I wonder if, obviously this is going to continue. I think now that the family was involved and Angel Garza ripped his pants off in front of Lio Rush's family, this is not the last we're going to see of him. And I'm okay with
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've done that twice now. That's good. I was going to ask you if you're okay with this. I know last week I said Angel Garza wasn't huge on, but he's good. I got to give him credit.
Yeah, he's very serviceable. That's all I got. Nothing else to add.
And Aaliyah and Xia Li, that happened. They had a match.
It did.
And that's covering that match right there. Cause,
Heard Aaliyah got hurt, though.
Yeah, pretty bad,
Like,
too.
actually injured, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you could tell after the match there was like this awkward feeling between the two because Xia Li kept looking over.
And she stayed in the ring.
And she was trying to
Just
do her...
kind of like, yeah.
And it was kind of a scary moment. And you could see on social media that Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah aren't too happy that they, got Aaliyah messed up. So
Yeah.
that's about it from that match. It wasn't anything exciting. It was basically just building up Xia Li, which would then lead us to Finn Balor addressing the NXT universe. Now, we all kind of expected, since he turned on Johnny, that he was going to have a match with Johnny, but we heard some news about Johnny Gargano, and he's not going to be able to compete.
Yeah, he gone.
So what's the next step for that?
I think, they tied it in together. We're going to see Matt Riddle step in, and they cleared it up throughout the course of the night because there was a little bit of that little time frame where you're like, is Matt Riddle going to do both? Because he was set to do the War Games match as well. But I think Matt Riddle, Finn Balor, Matt Riddle's got to be sitting in the locker room kind of pumped up.
It's a lot better than doing a multi-man War Games match or Survivor Series.
Yeah.
You're going against the very first Universal Champion.
Yeah, and it's a good way. I think Finn Balor obviously wins that one when it happens, but
yes,
you can make Matt Riddle look like a monster too, and just make Finn Balor look a little bit better, bit better.
And I think you're going to have a lot of cool counters in that match because Riddle's a fast-paced kind of guy, as is Finn, and Riddle's a hard hitter too. So these kind of styles are going to be very interesting. Obviously, Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano would have been outstanding. Probably a match of the year candidate, but I think Riddle is probably the only other route you can go with that. I don't know who else you could think of maybe to face Finn Balor.
Yeah, especially with how they already have their hands tied in a bunch of different other areas too. So
yeah, and it's like, speaking of the hand side, we had the Undisputed Era come out, surround the ring with those two, and then Ciampa and Lee would come out for the save, which is kind of this feud that has been going on between all of those men. But that would lead us to a match, the North American champion, Roderick Strong versus Keith Lee. What were your thoughts on this one?
Keith Lee, good on the mic too.
Steadily improving every
year. Yeah. The more and more I watch, the stock in him, in my opinion, is going up. But in my opinion, it was a good match. The big and the little thing, Keith Lee's shown he can fight against bigs with Dominik Dijakovic, and he also gives Roderick Strong he's just not a big. He's just not a big, heavy, bruiser kind of guy. He's athletic.
Because those big guys that are not athletic like Keith Lee are boring to watch.
Well, what, Bronson Reed?
Yeah.
No, they're not even the same level.
I like Bronson Reed, though.
I do too, but it's not the same. Like Keith Lee, you're looking for electric. Bronson Reed, you're looking at just powerhouse.
I see where you're going with that. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
No, it does for sure. But really good action in this one, and like you said, the contrast of styles really helps with that. And Keith Lee, once again, if I were to have power rankings in NXT, he's got to be top 5, top 3.
Yeah, I mean,
ever since they went to TV, man, I'm telling you.
Right, I agree completely. Because you see the push that you get out of him, and Dominik Dijakovic has not been nearly as prevalent. Still strong, still great, But yeah, go Keith Lee.
Yeah, bask in his glory, I guess you could say.
Oh, bask in his glory. Did you see his face light up when they started saying it too? Like, I just think he's genuine. I think he's into it. He's getting better in every regard.
And I think he knows that too.
Yeah.
And cool for you, man. Embrace that you got the crowd behind you and everything seeming to click. And a lot was going on in this match outside on the ringside, of course, which would kind of distract Roderick Strong here, which Keith Lee would then hit the jackhammer for the win. So It makes you think, is Keith Lee the next in line for the North American Championship?
Yeah, I think so. Now, they've already touted the what is the match? It's Shinsuke, Roderick Strong, and
AJ Styles.
That's going to be a heater of a match.
This isn't a hot take. That's going to be the match of the night.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. Other matches have to overperform in my mind's eye to beat it for sure.
Let's see if we're on the same page here. If you were to think of another match that's happening at Survivor Series that might be able to top it, which one are you thinking?
Let me think in my head.
For me, it's the tag teams. Viking Raiders.
Oh yeah,
Fish and O'Reilly and the New Day.
Yeah, that
could steal the show too. I mean, there's.
I wanted to lean toward the ladies, but I'm not.
I'm talking about Shayna, Bayley, Becky.
Yeah, but
I
do think that one's underrated on the card, though.
I'm interested to see how Shayna's style is going to mesh with someone like Bayley.
Right.
I think it'll work with Becky Lynch, but Bayley's not as athletic as Becky is, but Bayley can really have a match with anyone. So I guess I shouldn't be doubting it whatsoever. But there's a lot of good matches that are going to be happening at Survivor Series and War Games. But Keith Lee making a statement once again on NXT might be in line for a North American Championship here.
Yeah.
So something to keep an eye out for sure. Another guy to keep an eye out for is Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Bronson Reed, who you were just talking about here.
Yeah, a good match.
Shorter.
The push that Swerve is getting, he's got to be happy with that as well, since going to TV. Like you say in the notes here, it's a good way to showcase both guys.
Yeah, because none of them are
solid.
Yeah, none of them are in a storyline right now. We've seen them on TV recently, so let's keep putting them on TV. Let their styles clash, and let them do what they do best. And they had a very good match for the time that they were given.
Yeah, I think so.
So Swerve would get the win here. Where do you see Swerve kind of falling into place now? Because they're obviously kind of building him up.
They like him. I don't think he's nowhere near getting a push towards the top, not riding a skyrocket like Keith Lee is, but I could see him towing off in that Damian Priest type level.
That's what I was thinking.
Pete Dunne, Damian Priest. I think there's a lot of
the
guys
NXT mid-card version.
Yeah. And I think, getting a story or a line with Pete Dunne would be great because Pete Dunne is very strong. But with the Killian Dane stuff, it kind of muddies it up. But keep giving him TV time. I like him.
Do you think he's a champion in 2020 of any sorts, whether that be North American or NXT? Or is it still too soon next year?
No, I do. He will be in a title match.
Okay. I agree with you. I think he will get probably a North American title match next year. But
because Keith Lee's going to be gone. I mean, if the Undisputed Era is still in NXT for another year.
That's a great question, though. How long do you keep Undisputed in NXT now? Because they've been exposed to Raw and SmackDown already.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe this is it. Maybe Survive. Oh, they have all the titles, though. Like, you can't just leave the titles. Yeah. So now that I'm thinking about it, how do you get these guys off the show? They're gonna lose. They're gonna have to lose their titles.
Yeah.
And man, which makes you think:
do they lose them at War Games next year when they put all the gold on the line or something? I don't know.
There's still time for maybe them to put the gold on the line here at War Games. I don't think they're going to do it.
They will. But to have, how do you trickle up all of the Undisputed Era? Do you do it one at a time?
Who gets what, too?
Right.
So, yeah, that's just too complicated then. But after that, we would get Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane, or so we thought. That would be interrupted.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just storyline progression here at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cool with it. Now they all have to fight each other now, probably. Right?
If they were to have a triple threat, who do you think wins?
That's
tough because they're all kind of in the same spot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Priest.
That's what I was going to say.
Because Pete Dunne had his reign. Killian Dane was a part of Sanity and had his main roster stint. Damian Priest is the only guy that hasn't really had that big win. Yeah. I mean, he did beat Pete Dunne a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there is that. People forget.
Yeah, people do forget about that. So I don't know if this fits on the War Games card, though.
Nah.
Is this a War Games match? Or is
it's a great TV match.
Maybe it's the main event next week. I don't know.
Heading into War Games, put a stipulation on it. Somebody gets something out of it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like we brought up last week. Maybe it's a North American title shot, but Keith Lee looks to be next in line for that, so we'll see. Another thing I read, I don't know if you noticed this at all, Velveteen Dream, he hasn't been on TV for a while, nursing an injury right now.
That's what I heard as well, yep.
I'm not sure what the injury is, but they said they're going to keep him out for a few months, which...
Too many ladies, man.
And maybe that couch just saw too much action there, and he pulled something, you know?
A spring in a couch could be a problem.
I have broken pieces of furniture. This might not surprise you. Wrestling.
That doesn't... No, not at all.
I hit my friend with an attitude adjustment onto my other friend's bed, and it snapped the spring.
My brother and I broke a toy chest. Threw me through the top of it.
What the hell? That had to hurt.
It didn't feel great. I was the one going through it. I couldn't get Big Boy up.
How'd you sell?
I was literally dead. I cried. I was so passionate about selling.
See, we need more of that selling talk in the WWE. That's for sure. But there was good selling in the main event here.
Yeah.
Ladder match for the War Games advantage. Io Shirai versus Mia Yim. But let's set the table here for a second. Throughout the night, we kept seeing women getting laid out that are on Team Ripley. What was going on in your head? Who did you think was going after these women?
I thought it was more of Shayna and her crew, but it didn't. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking of how the three brands are intermingling, and I was incorrect. But,
yeah, because we would find out it was actually Bayley.
Yeah.
You know who I thought it was going to be? Dakota Kai.
Oh yeah. See, that didn't even cross my mind.
That's a wrinkle
that was the other team. Because
the only reason Dakota Kai. And this Dakota is still somebody I'm keeping an eye on right now because she was left off the team. She had that backstage segment with Mia, like, hey, I still got your back. I'm like thinking in the back of my head, like,
do you though?
I don't trust Dakota Kai right now.
Right.
And I think it's a good thing because Dakota needs something. And
yes,
obviously something's going to happen
healthy
here.
Distrust.
Right. But really fun ladder match. And the thing that I notice most about this is, like with some other companies, AEW, they like to go for the spots.
Yep.
This wasn't spot heavy for a ladder match. It had its pacing. It had its moments. But everything seemed to connect in a way that made a perfect ladder match for me.
And I didn't hate Mia Yim.
I was going to say that too,
So
but I
there's
didn't want to be the first. I didn't want to be the first one to say it, Doc.
And going into it, I was not. My impression after was much higher than my impression going into it, or my expectation going into it. I thought she did very well. Not this mind-blowing spot fest AEW type ladder match, but it makes me dislike her less going into War Games.
I still dislike her.
I still want Dakota Kai.
I do too. And honestly, don't be surprised if Mia Yim gets attacked backstage before that match.
Yeah.
And, who's filling in? It's Dakota Kai. And then we go back to the film, and it was Dakota Kai attacking her the whole time.
It at least gives you a story,
I'll tell you what, if that happens, I'm saving this audio clip. I'm putting it on Twitter, @PodOnTheMark, which you should be following.
Yeah.
Close to 200.
Come on. We're close.
I mean, what do we get when we get to 200? Just a pat on the back, basically?
Yeah.
It's a milestone.
Yeah.
We just want to keep reaching milestones. But how about that injury to Mia Yim in this match? She got her face messed up a little bit.
Yeah. She, again, kind of gives her a little more street cred because she kept dueling,
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it made me dislike her less. I think I gained more of a respect for her because she was able to have a good match with a really good wrestler and fight through some pain, literally some pain, and the story makes sense. But the person that came out to help Io Shirai win, I don't know much about.
I was going to
say, do you know anything about Kaylee Ray?
I know Kaylee Ray sounds like Kylie Ray, and that's about it.
That's some expert analysis.
Yes.
Right? No.
All the takes.
If you don't know, she's the NXT UK Women's Champion. I did see her. This is the only time I've seen her. Actually, I think it was twice. It was in the Mae Young Classic.
Oh, okay.
And she beat Toni Storm at one of the UK takeovers.
Almost like you're going to say Tony Schiavone. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, no, we will talk about Tony Schiavone, though, in a little bit. But, yeah, Kaylee Ray would end up costing Mia Yim here, put her through the ladder. But how about that spot?
I had to go back and rewatch it a little bit. There was a lot of pieces, a lot of bits
And I want
make sense of it.
And I want to point this out. This is probably something you haven't noticed yet because you haven't been watching for a while. And I'm going to credit Bully Ray here at Busted Open Radio because I listened to that show religiously. He was talking about how Mia Yim sold it. Now, the natural response to falling is to protect yourself, whether that be putting a foot out or an arm out. She took it straight on her back. And that's how wrestlers are taught to take bumps and sell everything,
right?
Is with your back. So props to her once again, and credit to Bully Ray for pointing it out. I didn't even notice that until I watched it again. It made it look more vicious, too.
Yeah, and it makes sense from a safety standpoint, too. The back is that slab of your body that can kind of absorb some brunt, it is still wild because your spinal cord's up there, but protecting the limbs, digits, hands, the points, things like that. But NXT, very strong.
Yeah. Good, very good opener. I would say the opening match is my favorite. What about you?
Same.
So Leo Rush and Angel Garza have the match of the night, but very close second. I love when a show can start strong and finish strong.
Yeah, and it's important knowing that they're going up against AEW. Again, second week in a row for me watching separate shows. So, yeah, I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So let's go to the other show that's happening on Wednesday nights, which once again beat NXT in their ratings. I know people want to talk about that. Close to 1 million for AEW this week, a big jump.
Yeah, 13-something percent, 15% or something like that.
Why do you think that is?
The juice coming off of Full Gear, not fully loaded.
What was your favorite match on Full Gear?
Man.
Because there was a lot of good ones.
There was. I'll probably do the Lights Out match because it's just such a different experience.
I was going to say that too, but there's a lot of controversy around that too.
A lot of people disliked it, and but apparently it sounds like that's going to be gone for a while.
And I get their point too, and their criticism. Like, you're going to end up killing yourself. You're doing all these crazy spots.
Well, and I'm always thinking about, like, even when they toss a mic down and, slam a guy, I'm like, that is going to kill his shoulder blade if he lands even close to it. These dudes are doing mouse traps, glass, barbed wire. I thought it was prop barbed wire, but you can't avoid the
It was.
But how did they get sliced, though?
I wouldn't be surprised if cutting's a thing in AEW because you can't cut or blade, as they would call it, in WWE anymore.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they were blading or something. But some of those spots, man, were vicious. And, I mean, that's what the match was. I mean, it was lights out, no restrictions. It doesn't count towards a record. Just beat the shit out of one another. There wasn't much wrestling to it, but it gave another side to Kenny Omega that we, in the audience that's been watching, hasn't seen yet.
And AEW, from a marketing publicity standpoint, might have felt not the need, but the privilege to do a match like that, given that they're new, different, other. Certainly had to get eyes on it.
It got people talking. We're talking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think if anything gets you talking,
it works.
It's money, especially in pro wrestling. That's
right.
That's a huge thing, which kind of reminds me of the Rusev and Lana, Bobby Lashley thing. People are still talking about that, which we'll get there. Don't worry. I know you're not happy about it, but we'll get there, Tucky. But the leadoff match here on AEW Dynamite was Jon Moxley coming off of that match versus Michael Nakazawa. This is what we call a squash match, if you've ever heard of that. But the story was more what happened after the match.
Yeah, he goes with the promo and almost ties a bow on the hardcore stuff, that there's not a guy in the back that'll do it. There's not a guy in the back that'll mix it up like that. Ties a bow on it. There was also a great video package at the beginning. I really loved that they put a spotlight on Kenny Omega as the loser and also told him that Moxley was actually cleared to wrestle. And he's like, come on.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
That's a nice little piece, too. Like saying Omega can't go, but Moxley is still so crazy that he's cleared.
Yeah,
he's fine. Let's do it again. That's basically what he was saying. They were calling out people. But I'm sitting here, I'm watching this promo. I'm like, man, Moxley and AEW makes so much sense, and he's a goddamn rock star.
He is. He is. Is there anywhere, could he be anywhere close to that on the WWE roster right now? Not even close, because he would be sanitized and washed, and I'm sure there's a few things, when he gets back down in the locker room, they're like, maybe don't like say the F word right in front of the camera, but like little stuff like that. But again, people are paying attention.
And I know a lot of people will say that he was boxed in WWE. He still had a successful career. The Shield was one of the best things that happened in the WWE. He won all the championships. So saying he was boxed in, I don't think so. Creatively, maybe.
Right.
And that's why he left. So now he's able to showcase more of his character and hardcore style on AEW Dynamite. And I think that's great. So next week, we just found out he'll be facing Darby Allin.
Looking forward to it. Darby's a small guy that plays as a big, and he's not afraid. So
yeah, that's definitely a matchup that I might want to tune in live for. I haven't watched AEW live yet. That's a big thing. A lot of people are like, what are you watching live?
Yeah.
What do you usually watch? Isn't it now? What is it, I should say?
NXT.
Yeah.
Because I know at 9:02 I can get the cutback on AEW from Hulu. So
see, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I go to the interwebs where I get all my free stuff, which I'm not going to disclose which website it is because I don't want it to get taken down. But that's where I go to watch it afterwards. So there's a little bit of a delay too because it takes them a while to get it uploaded to the site. So
for some people, it does take a while to get it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know a few friends that might have a problem with that. So that's a story for another day. We're here to talk about wrestling, and we're here to talk about dinosaurs, or I should say the Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
They faced off against the Dark Order. For me, this match didn't connect.
No, they did not have the Marco spots that do so well.
I think he was a little shaky in this match.
Yep.
And I'm not going to put all the blame on the Dark Order for once, because I know we've notoriously been known for Dark Order haters, but I think this was probably the worst showing for Marco's stunt. And you would think maybe these styles would mesh, but it's just there was a disconnect there. I don't know how to describe it, but do you know what I'm saying, basically?
Yeah, I think they would fare better against somebody like the Private Party, I don't know, somebody not the Dark Order. Not the Dark Order.
Yeah, and I wish this match was good because I love the Jurassic Express, but the Dark Order would get the win, and then afterwards, this is kind of where things get a little bit more interesting.
I think the recruitment of Marco Stunt to become a creeper was the best part of the match. I didn't know, like, you can come with us, and then he was like, you can be one of them, and pointed to the minions. I actually thought that was funny. Like, I think that's the most clever way they've utilized that part of the gimmick, and and then.
Well, yeah, he would decline, and then they would start to beat him up with the creepers and all of that. But we get a big return, Tucky.
Yeah.
In a big way, Luchasaurus is back.
Yeah, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, big dude, big return.
How about that pop?
I thought the time off served him well because he was very, very well received. So
And it wasn't that long.
It felt like it was anticipated to be longer. So,
and he just provides so much to the Jurassic Express. That's a future AEW World Champion. I think it's easy to say that guy will hold gold.
Oh yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if it's in 2020. You could tell the stock is there.
It's good. They've got AEW does have a lot of options at the top, no doubt.
And a guy that could be an option, he's gotten a chance, is Darby Allin. He was in this triple threat match with Peter Avalon and Shawn Spears. Once again, not much to note from this one in particular from a wrestling standpoint. No offense to Avalon and Spears, but I just think this was about giving Darby another win, and that's about it.
The pairing was a little haphazard. I don't know why those three needed a match or got a match together.
Yeah, what's the purpose? That's basically the point here. Why?
Yeah.
Why
Darby
this
Allin
match?
is out there. Shawn Spears is losing still. So
if this was a way just to further continue the beef with Janela and Spears, which Joey Janela did come out,
right,
and they brawled into the crowd, I think you could have gone a different way about doing that. Because other than that, was this just to add another W to the win column for Darby Allin?
Well, and then it sets up the Moxley Allen angle, so they had to get him out there. The Pete Avalon thing was just kind of like, okay.
He didn't have any offensive moves.
Right. Yeah.
I literally think he's just out there to be their number one jobber.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it gets you on TV and you're wrestling in front of an audience of almost 1 million people. So He's
okay.
really not a loser when it
Right.
comes to the terms of wrestling, but
Right.
in this match, he was a loser. He took the pinfall to Darby Allin. And like we said earlier, Darby Allin will face Jon Moxley next week, so that is something to look forward to for sure. Why don't you talk to him about the next match here with Nyla Rose?
So Nyla Rose squared off against Danny Jordan, and it happened. And Nyla Rose is looking strong. I think this was her first return to TV since the first episode. So.
Yeah, it was. And it's another squash match, but it makes sense with Nyla because she's supposed to look like a beast, which she is.
Yeah.
She did her thing, got the win, but I think what happened afterwards is the thing that got most people talking.
Yeah, I wasn't very familiar with Allie. Tony Schiavone interviewed Allie at the front of the ramp, and basically...
Another side note, he did mention how she is fourth, I believe,
yeah.
in the women's power rankings, which
Fourth in
means
the
something.
rankings. Yeah, mentioned, plug that they come out the weekly rankings. I like that spin on it. And she mentioned that she's only wrestled on Dark. You haven't seen her on TV. And I like that AEW has that Dark section, that they have that plug and availability. And it almost is kind of the NXT UK type thing. We've got another hour to stew and develop talent as well. So they have some experimentation there. So it's not just this 2-hour window. They do have a little bit more. And then Brandy Rhodes.
With Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong.
We saw the vignettes,
Yep.
so we knew this was a thing. But she would attack Allie, and she would take a piece of hair and
smell it.
She adds it to her belt. Interesting gimmick here. What are your thoughts on the pairing of Awesome Kong and Brandy Rhodes?
I think it's good for Brandy because it doesn't push her to be in the ring as well as Cody. And it also gives Awesome Kong a little bit more of a mouth. I don't know that I've ever heard her talk.
She doesn't do much talking.
Right.
When she was in WWE as Karma, she didn't do much because she's just this monster heel now in AEW. And I kind of like the whole thing of take a little bit of their hair and smell
the trophy,
it a little bit.
right?
Yeah,
The serial killer-ish trophy type thing.
yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
They want their trophies. You watch enough Dexter or what's the other one? Mastermind.
I never watched any of those shows. I can honestly say I've never seen Dexter in my life. Everybody tells me to watch it.
First 6 seasons. You don't have to watch the back half.
There's more than 6?
There's a bunch, yeah.
Jeez.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's good though. But it does give her this kind of, predator psychopath type gimmick, and I agree.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's not what you normally see on TV, which is good. Who would be the next, in your opinion, for Riho? Is it Awesome Kong? You think they're building her up to get to that point?
Who's number 2 in the power rankings?
That's probably something we probably should have looked up before this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Rio is still interesting to me.
Did you like her match with Sakura? Or I probably butchered the
Sakura?
hell out of it. Yeah, Sakura. Yeah. Did you like that match?
It was okay.
I thought it was pretty good, and I like how the fact that she trained Rio.
Yeah.
It kind of gave it more of a backstory there. So from that perspective, it was good. But I think Rio actually has been a very solid women's champion. I don't know.
I do too. The thing that always catches me is the size, and finding plausible ways for her to actually win. But they have been doing it to this point. So
I have the rankings, or at least I think these are the rankings, and ads keep popping up here.
Here we go.
Nyla Rose is 5. Awesome. Yeah, these can't be their actual rankings. This must be just the websites because it has Nyla 5, Awesome Kong 4, Hikaru Ashida 3, Dr. Britt Baker 2, and Rio 1. Yeah, those are not the actual rankings because they brought up the fact that Allie was in the top 5 and she wasn't mentioned there. It might be on their website. So
yeah, well, he plugged that they come out on the Fridays, so
maybe
you'd have to scroll back quite a ways to get those.
Maybe it's on their
even
website.
before
Who knows?
Gear
If you keep
too.
looking it up, maybe you can find it. But
Yeah.
afterwards, Chris Jericho, the AEW World Champion, La Champion,
I like it.
as he says, yeah, he retained at Full Gear thanks to MJF, who would end up coming out. He just turned heel on his best friend Cody.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on this heel turn with MJF?
I thought it was too early. We talked the episode.
You talked about this.
Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. But after hearing MJF talk, it almost felt like you were watching two versions of Chris Jericho, past and present. You know, I really enjoyed their back and forth.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the fact that it was too early, because when it comes to terms of AEW, they've been on TV for 6 weeks, and you're already turning MJF, and you brought it up last week. Let that ride out for months. You practically said a year.
Dude.
Which that slow burn, maybe when Cody was champion in a year, you could have turned MJF, but he threw you in the white towel at Full Gear. But going back to the AEW Dynamite.
Now, is that the out?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, me too.
Because Cody said, if I lose, I can't compete. Well, somebody else gave up for me. I didn't technically give up. That's what Cody can say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens there with their future. But like you said, fun back and forth. And I tell you what, in a segment with Chris Jericho, the AEW champion, MJF shined more. And it's hard to outshine Chris Jericho.
Also pretty difficult, I could imagine, to pull off a crisscross applesauce in mid-segment. And hats off to Chris Jericho because he didn't break.
No. I mean, they had their literally back and forth. They were like screaming and yelling at the same time. They had the bond that they hated Cody, so they kind of hugged it out a little bit. But after they had their fun, after they were talking their smack, Cody would end up coming out, and the brawl was not good, to be blunt. I don't know if you noticed a couple botches during it. I don't know if Jericho and Cody weren't on the same page there.
That the first slam that he went to try to get.
That's what I'm referring to.
Just.
People rip WWE botches all the time, so I'm going to bring up the fact that AEW botches too. So you AEW marks that are listening right now, this happens to everyone, and it was a big miss here.
Oh, give it, it's Cody though, bro. Yeah. He's busy, dude.
I don't know if that would have went without a hitch. I think the segment would have been perfect, but
it does kind of put a black eye. So,
who shines the most here?
MJF.
What's next for that? It's probably a match with Cody, or are we setting up a triple threat here?
Well, and they did kind of leave it open because MJF and Chris Jericho hugged.
That's what I'm saying.
To kind of lock in the inner circle thing in my mind, but then somebody else showed up.
Why am I blanking on who else showed up?
Low.
Oh, yeah, we had the debut of... I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was also watching this like half asleep. I want to throw that out there.
I agree. But the other gentleman that showed up, you're not going to have 7 people in the... Because it sounds like MJF and what is his name? Holy moly. Yeah. But
it's War something.
Wardlow or something like Ward. I don't know. The rankings for the women's division going into Full Gear, Emi Sakura was number 1.
Okay.
Britt Baker was number 2. Hikaru Shida was 3. Allie was 4, and Nyla Rose was 5.
Okay.
So
that makes a little bit more sense. Wait, you said Emi Sakura was number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the champion doesn't go number 1.
Right. The champion is not ranked because she's the champion.
Yeah, it is Wardlow.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah. So okay, I was
right.
close.
Yeah. I think it's more of a pairing with MJF. I don't think it's an inner circle thing. So
yeah,
if that's like kind of his muscle, so MJF can do the talking and everything else, he's got a big guy. Or otherwise, that was just a way to debut someone. And why not do it against Cody Rhodes?
No doubt.
So that was that segment. We then would have a match between Hangman Page and Pac. This is their third matchup of their rivalry that they've been going about. And, if you've seen it the first 2 times, it's about what we've seen. Good. And this is not a knock when I say that it is basically what we've already seen. Technically sound match with good counters. We saw a lot of counters in this one, which I did notice. But Pac would defeat Page after stomping him in the head multiple times. And they were vicious.
A lot.
And I think that's a good little side thing for his character, that Pac just doesn't give a damn.
Right.
Hits the Dark Arrow, gets the win here. What's your thoughts?
I like the 2 of them, but you're also at a spot now where you know what to expect. You're not going to get a super spotty fest. I think Pac is aggressive. He's vicious. Pac Moxley.
We know Pac now. Like they've had enough matches. Yeah. He's had his style, and I feel like, and you brought it up with maybe Moxley. He might be rising up in the rankings. Mm-hmm. That's a guy to keep an eye on too, and. I'm glad they haven't really buried him, I guess. And then there's no bearing Pac, but if you would have gave Hangman the win here, where does Pac go?
Right.
But Hangman, he's got plenty of time.
He's still got the juice to be strong, no doubt.
And Hangman also already had an AEW title match, so.
Hangman Page. That's how JR says it. Hangman.
JR says a lot of things different. And people rip him on Twitter, but he's not afraid to respond. So
yeah,
props to JR there. So overall, good match, I think we could say.
Yeah,
solid. Just like the backstage segment, which I really liked. Santana and Ortiz were brawling throughout the arena, backstage, up front. They put the Bucks through the stage like they did to the Rock and Roll Express, which I like the continuity between that.
Yeah, I'm starting to like Santana and Ortiz. They've just got this chip on their shoulder. They're nasty about it. I enjoy watching them. Thought it was a good match at Full Gear as well. So I was entertained by the promo too. AEW doesn't suck at that stuff. They're good,
especially for being on TV for that long.
A lot of those guys on that roster are not super used to live TV with a million eyeballs on them, so that's been another impressive takeaway. NXT, at least they've had experience, on camera steadily and things like that, but AEW is not a joke. It is not something to play with.
No, I agree with you. And I want to say this. I know I critiqued it on the first couple episodes that there was no storytelling. I think now we're starting to get into the stories, and they're good at it. Yep. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Cody basically runs the show there. He's the son of Dusty Rhodes, and we know how Dusty Rhodes could tell a story.
Oh, no doubt.
So
no doubt.
The genes are there, and the stories are going to be there. So that's just prolonging that feud. And like you said, Santana and Ortiz, they're fun to watch. They're very entertaining. So we'll see where that goes from there. That would lead us to the main event, AEW Tag Team Championship match between... Do you want me to yell it?
Yes.
No, you yell it.
No, I'm
time.
prepared. SCU!
It's SCU! I think that was a little better. But they'd face off against the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara, and the AEW champion, Chris Jericho. Thoughts?
The only thing I have coming out of it is Scorpio Sky.
And we've been saying that a lot.
Yeah. I think AEW realizes what they have. Jericho gets his first loss.
Can you believe that? He gets his first pin against Scorpio Sky?
I'm glad they didn't put all the gold on him. Le double champion. Wasn't feeling it.
There was a moment there where I thought it would happen because Jake Hager was ringside. He was basically doing his, heel stuff that heels do. I think it was an okay main event. I don't think they gave it enough time. There was only about 8 minutes of actual wrestling when you break it down.
I did appreciate that they commented that this is a 60-minute match. If they go past, so like they have that outlet, I don't know that they'll ever do it.
I think they will.
I with them putting it, you don't put the gun on the mantle without letting it go off by the end of the book. So I do think it will. That's a story writing thing.
Wow. I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, if you're writing a story and you mention a gun on the mantle, that thing better go off.
Okay,
so
I get it.
I think with them putting it out there, but when do you do it? I feel like every Wednesday is so important,
It'd be a good way to get people to their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Which is social media, and social media is huge in wrestling. So
right. Could be one of those. I mean, they line up on Christmas and New Year's, I think. So
that's smart.
Could be, see if it works. See what kind of click rate you can get.
New Year's, I think that'd be the time.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just New Year, go overtime. Why not? Because most people are doing things, but hey, tune in to YouTube if you want to see this finish of this Sammy Guevara versus some babyface.
And speaking of overtime, we got next.
What's next?
No, we got next. We're
Overtime Sports Network.
OTSportsNetwork.com @_OTSN.
Yeah, that's a Mikey and the Degenerates thing, isn't it? Yeah, I think I said that once or put it on a.
It was on the
promo video.
It was on that promo that Contact Corey did.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna have to get him to do some more things for us for sure. But okay, main event for me. But like you said, Scorpio Sky is the one who gets the pinfall. You got to think now. Scorpio Sky may get an AEW World Championship match.
At some point.
Or is that just like their way of like?
There's 3 of them in SAU. Let the other 2 take the titles. Let Scorpio go on a run. He's got a little bit of juice behind him to defend him against Hager and the other goons. You know,
the other goons.
You know?
Santana and Ortiz are goons.
No, there's he's just got his posse. Jericho's just got a squad. You know,
A little bit of the bubbly.
yeah.
Doesn't sound bad right now.
The conversation between MJF and Jericho was kind of the moment of the night.
That's your highlight?
Yeah. It felt like Step Brothers. You know what I mean? Like in the garage scene. I heard you want me to come to the Inner Circle. I heard you wanted to come. Well, do you want me? You want me? You know?
No, I agree with you.
And then they said, I forget the line, but they both were like, Cody. They were, who's the worst? Or
Cody.
something.
Good. Yeah. It was good stuff for sure. So I agree with you. That was the highlight. It was
fun.
More of a show that focused on the stories and prolonging them and telling them rather than the wrestling.
And hats off to them for taking the time to start laying. We don't even know when the next pay-per-view is, but with the way stories are shaking out, that's what keeps you tuning in. So
you would think there's got to be something in December. Or do they not want to be like WWE and do a show every month? Kind of like NXT.
I don't think they are. I think the next one they did announce Double or Nothing in Vegas in May. I think February is when you get it.
I was going to say there's got to be one more then.
Yeah.
Do they do a Royal Rumble type show? Like a Battle Royal?
I think they cut in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
It's a good time.
I think that's when they're going to cut in. And
what is their WrestleMania then?
I don't know.
Is it All Outs? Or All Out's going to become their...
All Out, Double or Nothing. Do they eventually establish this wrestle type event?
That's another thing. They have to have a big one. Like, I believe Impact's Slammiversary. There's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think there's a WrestleFest in some company.
One of them's got Wrestle
Kingdom. That's maybe New Japan. Once again, we don't know for sure.
They can't take Crown Jewel. That's already taken.
Oh.
So that one's...
Dang, I was hoping we were going to have a Crown Jewel in AEW because those shows are great.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of the Wednesday night shows, where Scoreboard was at 3-3.
Right.
Going into this week, which we didn't get the scoreboard out, so if anybody was looking forward to it, that's okay.
Hey, that's all me.
If you listen to the show, you know the scoreboard.
Come on now.
So that's all that really matters. One of our loyal listeners, Quinn, a.k.a. Rich Homie Quinny.
Like that.
On Twitter. Yeah, it's a good one.
Especially because when you know Quinn, you know.
He's a good guy. He's a good brother for sure. He has his scoreboard after this week, AEW 5, NXT 2.
I don't know.
Quinn, are you an AEW mark?
Sounds like it.
I could see it.
Yeah.
You're close, but NXT's had some darn good weeks, and I think
they are.
This was another good one, and like we said about the ratings, AEW drew in 957,000, NXT 750,000.
Yep.
So where is your vote going this week on November 13th, 2019? This will break the tie.
We got to do the countdown.
Do we really?
Yeah.
All right.
I've waited all day.
Are you counting down 3, 2 after?
You are counting down.
We're going to have to nail this.
It's going to,
After 1.
We say 3 numbers, and then we go. All right.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. NXT.
I was nervous because I thought it was going to be real like marky or like weird that if we went 3.5 to 3.5.
That's
I
true.
prefer not to do that. I'd like to debate back and forth if we have a colorful disagreement. But
I kind of want a disagreement because so far we haven't. It's been 7 weeks and we agree.
I know
that's not fun.
Do we need to bring in guest call someone in on these panels to try to I don't know. Is that Vogus?
We might have to.
Is that Oros?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think Aaron watches AEW, so.
Is that Vogus?
Is that Vogus?
Is that right. Tommy Quinny?
Yeah, we could ask Quinn, but we know where he's at. He's at 5-2. We are at 4-3 NXT. A lot of people are going to disagree with us there, Tuck, because I know a lot of people have AEW with the lead.
And that's okay. They're both great products. Whatever the scoreboard is, 7-0, 6-1, 4-3, 3-3, whatever. We're winning on Wednesdays. The scoreboard is a fun little metric to really get us invested.
Sure.
I look forward to the scoreboard, and I watch both shows even closer, knowing that I have to compare the two. But either way, I think we're all in a good spot on Wednesday nights.
I agree, and I will say this to close out our Wednesday night wrestling talk: if you have, and you have to watch both shows, obviously. If you think it's like 6-1 or 7-0,
Come on, man.
Stop being a mark.
Come on, man.
Let's be realistic. Both shows are awesome. I can see the 5-2, barely, Quinn. I'm looking at you when I say that. 4-3, 3-4, I could see it. That makes the most sense right now because both shows are delivering. And like you said, we're winning.
Well, and for me, my spin on this score was that WWE was building while AEW was coming down from Full Gear.
But they were also building.
Well, and I get they were, but I thought the match. I just thought the wrestling was better at NXT.
That's where
I'm
my
more
edge is.
Giddy, and it could be because we have tickets to the shows, and we're really focused on that product because we're going to go see that 4 nights in a row. But we're also going to see AEW too.
We are. And I think something big's going to happen on that show because they know Chicago is literally probably home base for AEW.
Sears Center is their home, no doubt. They have a very solid,
Maybe that's where their WrestleMania type show happens in Chicago.
They sell it out every time.
If it does, we are going.
We will find a way in.
We will definitely.
Will we
there.
sit separate if we have to? I know I will. I've done it. I'm 1 for 1 on
I'm
next.
not that kind of guy. I don't know why. Like I want to be a mark with my friends.
I got the perfect spot. The secret bathroom with no line really put a bow on it.
That's huge, and that's
No
what
doubt.
I'm going to be honest with you. Since we're going to all the wrestling that's coming up next weekend, I'm worried about my pee breaks because lately my piss has been coming out frequent.
Piss breaks.
I don't know if it's because I got over the 25-year-old hump that now that's what happens. Is that what happens, Doug?
I'm looking at 30 tomorrow, man. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, tomorrow is your birthday. Yeah, tweet at him, at JimTuck89. The 89 stands for the year you were born.
No doubt.
30 for Tucky over here. So let's finish off the show with the main roster stuff, and that is SmackDown and Raw. We're just going to talk about the major points that kind of happened.
Yep.
On last Friday, SmackDown, we got new tag team champions. The New Day defeated The Revival. Were you surprised about this?
A little bit. I was surprised a little bit because I don't hate The Revival, and I would like to see them what they do with an extended little push, but
That's one thing the Revival hasn't got is a lengthy title run, and I kind of want to see it.
Well, driving up to work every day with the titles, we're going to take them today. And you're like, okay, figured,
They do that so often with the tag
know.
team championships, and that's why AEW's tag team division is already superior than WWE's because WWE is just playing hot potato with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not discrediting New Day. I mean, this is their 7th reign. They obviously deserve this, but I would have
Don't
liked
you
to
dare
see-
be sour.
I'm a little sour. I'm not going to lie. Now,
Moderately sour.
what are your thoughts on this? A lot of people say this was their way of giving Kofi back for losing to Brock.
No.
It's not equivalent.
Not even close. Not even close.
And do you think eventually Kofi will work his way back, or is he now stuck once again in the tag teams?
I think you're a long time away from it. I really do.
And it's unfortunate because Kofi's run was great. Eventually, you could maybe rekindle the feud with Brock. You have history.
Yeah.
So who knows? But they are the new champions. The match was really good, which shouldn't be surprising because whenever the New Day and the Revival go at it, it's just very good tag team
A
wrestling.
great professional wrestling match.
Absolutely. So now in Survivor Series, we're going to get the Undisputed Era versus the Viking Raiders versus the New Day. If you were to say one team won't win this match, what's the one team that will not win? I think we might have the same answer.
Undisputed.
Really?
Yep.
I don't agree. I was going to say
You
the
were
New
gonna
Day.
say New Day? Yeah. I'm between the two. I think, I don't know. I think
Because
the
what does
Viking-
New Day winning do?
I don't think they're going to win. I just think the Viking Raiders are going to, I think they're going to do it.
Well, the Viking Raiders haven't faced anyone worth a damn lately.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate.
Strength of schedule is lacking. No doubt.
That's a good way of
But
putting it.
they beat the 2016 World Series champions.
Yeah, Rizzo and Bryant.
The East Hampton Polo Boys.
Yeah.
Um,
The Viking Raiders right now, their strength of schedule is basically what Alabama's been facing.
right.
They're the Alabama, which is good, but
Okay, is Undisputed Era LSU? Is it Ohio
yes,
State?
I love that comparison. I think, and if you don't know what college football is, then you have no idea what we're talking about. But I think Undisputed is the LSU.
Okay.
It's the more attractive team that people like to
Yeah,
support.
that's
people
true.
love LSU, and the main thing is Coach O and they're what he provides
Yeah, he's cool.
because he's a cool guy to follow.
He cuts a good promo.
Yeah, big promo guy, Coach O. Maybe we can get him on the show, cut a
on now.
promo. But yeah, the New Day is the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Not much else happened on SmackDown. Is there anything you want to talk about other than the main event, maybe?
I don't really care to talk about the main event.
King Corbin, the only reason I want to talk about it is because King Corbin defeated Roman Reigns, which is the first time that has happened on SmackDown in a one-on-one match against Roman Reigns. Pretty significant.
But did he, though?
He did.
Well, he did, yeah, but not. He gets by with a little help from his friends.
From Robert. Sorry, Bobby. Robert, whatever you want to call yourself.
Bobby Ziegler.
Robert Roode and Ziggler. I don't know their affiliation. Maybe they're both heels.
You know, they ran into each other at catering, you know.
Like, hey, you want to help me beat Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
And breaking news. So we could say this is breaking news.
Okay.
We already know 3 matches that are happening at TLC, and I know one of them. I'm only going to spoil one of them.
TLC?
TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs.
The next one?
Yes.
Really?
Already know it's being advertised. I'm only going to spoil one, so if you don't want to hear it, tune out now.
This is an On the Mark breaking news update.
King Corbin versus Roman Reigns in a TLC match. So tables, ladders, and chairs will be involved.
All right.
So that's one of them. So we know where that's heading, and that's why King Corbin picks up the win here.
The toilet. Okay.
That's your bathroom break?
Yeah.
Come on, it's a TLC match. It'll be decent. Still not buying into the King.
I like Roman Reigns.
I
And
do
Baron
too.
Corbin's actually not as bad a wrestler as I try to make him out to be. He's wearing trunks now, like wrestling pants. So
He's getting better. And Vogus, you can clip that if you want. I'm going to give him credit. He's getting better. He makes sense on the card. He has his place. I'm still not a fan. I'm not going to root for him, Doug.
No.
Even if there's a fire.
No, me the same. And he better not touch my drum set.
I want to hear that dirty little mouth of yours admit it. But no, speaking of fires, did I tell you the story about what happened here with the fire alarm?
No.
Literally the scariest moment of my life. This is off topic here, so we're going to talk about it anyways. I was sleeping. It was like 2 a.m. There's an alarm right by my door over here in my complex. It was going off, and it's not your typical fire alarm. It sounded like the Purge. I thought I was dying. Like, could you imagine waking up in the middle of the night?
No, and you live by yourself, too. So, like, the spooks.
The loudest noise I've ever heard in my life, too.
First time you ever heard it?
Yes, and that's another thing.
Right,
like, I didn't know what it was, so I have no shirt on because I don't sleep with a shirt.
Flex. Same.
Walked to it with my PJs on. I'm about to go outside to see if anybody else is noticing it, and it turns off right when I get to the door.
Okay.
I couldn't sleep the rest of the night, Tuck.
No, dude. Ears were ringing, sleeping by yourself.
I need a girlfriend, man, so if anybody wants to hook me up with someone, anyone, I'm desperate here.
Even if you live in Indianapolis.
Let's not talk about that on the air, Tuck. Yeah, come on now. We're going to Monday Night Raw here. There's like 2 people that are going to understand that, Aaron. I'm hoping that you're listening right now. Let's go to Raw here. The Kabuki Warriors, they successfully defended their titles against Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. And I found that pairing to be weird because didn't Natalya just win with Charlotte the week before?
Natalia's been doing the work, too.
Yeah.
Submitting to their last 2 tag team matches, but something about her getting hurt or something.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, then it makes more
they
sense.
like put a bow on it. She couldn't be there, couldn't make it, was hurt, something. So.
Okay, that makes more sense because there is another rumored TLC match.
Okay.
Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus the Kabuki Warriors for the titles. So that means they don't have anything for Becky then for the singles then, right?
Yeah.
So like, hey, let's just throw her with Charlotte and go from there. I don't.
Right.
It's a way to keep the belt on Becky.
Yep.
So if
There's
she's
that.
not defending it, but the story on this one I think was what happened after Shayna Baszler would show up and then Bayley would. That was kind of surprising. She laid out Becky Lynch. This is kind of just getting us ready for that Survivor Series matchup, which we talked about earlier.
Cool.
Okay with it?
Yep.
Kabuki Warriors retain, so that's good because I like what they're doing. So that was, I guess, somewhat significant on Raw, but nothing too spectacular. We got to see, though, Seth Rollins basically challenge anyone in the back room. We get Walter coming out.
Yeah. Good to see. Shine some light on the NXT UK product and Imperium. Cool.
Yeah, which then would lead to a match with the Street Profits, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins versus Imperium. Thoughts on all the hoopla? I mean, it was a lot. The pairing of Street Profits and Kevin Owens is kind of weird.
KO got a good pop, though.
He did.
And he always will. It's not like a huge surprise, but I don't know. Yeah, it happened.
Whatever happened to the KO AJ Styles thing? I thought we were going there. Didn't you think we were going there too?
No, not in my memory.
It happened on either a SmackDown or a Raw where Kevin Owens came out and attacked AJ Styles. It was with the Street Profits. That was a main event. I believe.
yeah.
I thought we were going there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It happened, but
Or is that just on the back burner now since
apparently.
Survivor Series is coming up? When AJ already has a match. No titles will change. I'll tell you that. That's my bold prediction for Survivor Series, Tuck.
We're gonna see how that's bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for you.
Yeah. So if I'm wrong, I'll take 10 shots. You heard it here, and I will record it and put it on our watch. Something happens.
Come on now.
I really hope
WWE.
not. I used to do that, by the way. I used to at the end of my YouTube days, I would do predictions, and every prediction I got wrong, I would take a shot and do it on YouTube. So
no thanks.
yeah, some pay-per-views it was interesting, but yeah. So that would end up leading to the match, like I said, and it was okay. It was a nice way, like you said, to showcase the UK talent. And then after that, another big thing, and this goes back to earlier in the episode when I said things that get people talking. This is getting people talking.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people hate it.
Yeah,
Lana's faking a pregnancy here, Tuck.
the thing that I actually liked about the angle was that although that was taped, the only people to hear the fact that it was a hoax were the people that watched live, because she said it on the live, the camera mic, and so that was an interesting effect that was not reached in spoilers or anything like that, because it was taped 3 days ahead of time. So
yeah,
that is an eternity in the wrestling world to keep something under wraps. But
I believe they taped SmackDown and Raw in the same night, which can put a wear on your crowd.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of wrestling. That's
No
5
doubt.
hours of wrestling.
Uh-huh.
Literally just a pay-per-view, but
Yeah.
it's not as good.
I heard the runtime was only 340 though, because of the advertisements.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Video
makes sense.
spots, a couple packages. Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do basically is just change a little bit of the apron.
Yeah.
Because they kept the same stage.
Yep.
It wasn't similar. So, yeah, that makes sense. But
It's still 4 hours button seat is a grind.
for just a regular weekly
You
show,
sat through two fine, average shows.
I wouldn't even say they're average. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say they were slightly below.
Yeah.
It wasn't unwatchable, like some may say this segment was, but I'm going to be the opposite of the spectrum here. I think this is working.
For Rusev, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Oh, yeah.
People are behind Rusev.
Yeah.
And maybe down the line, Rusev can be a face major champion.
I think so.
It's not out of the question for sure.
Yeah.
But they are having a matchup probably at Survivor Series. Or are they in tags too? I'm not even 100%.
I don't know.
No, they're not, because I'm looking at the tag teams right now. So maybe they have a match. Maybe they save that for TLC. That would be a good way to finish a feud. In a TLC match, put the marriage on the line. Winner that climbs the ladder gets Lana.
Yeah.
Lana on a pole match.
Ooh.
Now we're thinking.
Yeah.
That's something.
Put us in creative.
I actually think that's something that's probably been brought up on creative.
Yeah.
Sadly. But
Yeah.
I'm going to be positive here. I think this storyline's good for Rusev. So that's one thing we could take out of this for sure. But the main event was the OC versus an interesting pairing here, Tuck. And we kind of saw it backstage set up.
The OC squared off against Umberto
Roll the R.
Carrillo.
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 Don't hurt yourself now.
That's something back there.
Tip of the tongue,
And
teeth, and the lips.
Ricochet. All right. And Sir Randy Orton.
And did you catch the backstage segment? Basically, the OC was about to beat up Carrillo and Ricochet, and then Randy Orton steps in.
Yeah, and I like that they're teasing the RKO's always around the corner, maybe. Okay.
But it's also like, hey, Randy Orton might be a face. Is he, or is this just typical Randy Orton doing his tweener shit?
Right, yeah, I don't know.
I think something to look out for, and you talked about it kind of with the RKO can come out of nowhere. I think we're setting up something with Ricochet. I think this is ultimately where they're going with this. And can you imagine the matches that Randy Orton and Ricochet could have?
I think they could be good, no doubt.
RKOs can come literally out of nowhere with
Flying, can he fit in an RKO in the middle of a 630?
Oh my God! If that happened,
no way. He's got a 630 off of something real high or something. The window there's no spacing.
Or he does the running backflip.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, from like a standing position and on the way down. Man, I'm telling you,
there are some options though, for real.
Yeah, but this main event, this was a good match.
I thought so too.
I mean, this is like typical WWE putting a 6-man, but it worked.
Yep, I'm okay with it. I had lower expectations because it was taped, and 3 days later, I managed to stay away from spoilers, and to me, it didn't like lose a ton of steam going into Survivor Series.
No,
some of these decisions, though, like being in the UK 3 weeks ahead of this big old pay-per-view.
Doing literally a world tour now.
Those people are dying. Like the travel schedule, again, we have no idea. You have no clue.
They travel 300 at least days of the
Yeah.
year all around the world. I know during Christmas season they get, I think, a full week off because they will tape Christmas is SmackDown and Raw. So they're going to at least have a week there. But, man.
Dude, that's nothing, though. Those weeks snap and fly by. That's crazy.
When it comes to Raw and SmackDown, though, where would you give the edge from the UK shows?
I probably lean towards Raw.
I would agree with you because I think I watched SmackDown taped. Yeah, I watched SmackDown on Saturday, and it was not good whatsoever. But we now know the Raw and SmackDown teams. The Raw team, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. Pretty good 5 there.
Very solid, yes.
But on SmackDown, you have Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Braun Strowman.
Ooh.
And this is where, and this is not a knock to these guys, but when you compare the names on Raw, Shorty G and Mustafa Ali, who got his first name back.
Yeah, cool. I'm okay with it.
But, like, you could tell that Raw has the star power. SmackDown has, I mean, they got Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, but
Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman,
King Corbin.
I like Ali, Mustafa Ali. That the Shorty G King Corbin stuff at the bottom there really brings the stock down in that 5, though.
A lot more tension on that team, too, because Roman Reigns and Corbin, they have their thing going.
Corbin and Shorty G.
Yeah, they have their history. And Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns have history, too.
Oh, yeah.
They do. And on the other side of things, you got the Ricochet, Randy Orton dynamic.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, there's really no other tension there. So you would think
Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, they've had a lot of matches.
They have wrestled a bunch.
A lot. So if you were to pick a lone survivor here, and obviously this means you'd be picking a winner of the match, who's the guy that you think goes over in this? I think I know my pick.
You know they're going to screw it up and make it Baron Corbin, but
God damn it.
Drew McIntyre.
I agree.
Really?
Yes. I'm so glad you said that,
I like him. Like, I'm ready for him to get a big program and get a big push. And
he needs a big win.
Yeah.
It's either him or Kevin Owens. It's not going to be these guys that are already in these feuds.
Right.
It's not going to be Mustafa. Sorry, he's not credible enough.
Yep.
Yet. I'm going to put the yet out there.
Drew McIntyre, man.
Definitely not Shorty G. Drew McIntyre needs a win. Why not make him a lone survivor?
Yeah.
Makes him look good right there. So next week, are we doing a regular show?
We can. I mean, I'm
we
home
want to crank out 2, though, in 1 week?
I'm home and available.
I don't know, man.
What do you mean 2, though, in 1 week?
Because we're going to have to do one in the hotel room. We're going to be doing a podcast after SmackDown, right?
Maybe we just do a live pod after SmackDown. Live podcast. I could take the stuff and record it if you want to. We could do live only, too.
Or you're just saying like a live video on our Twitter?
Yeah, something like that. And then recap the whole thing the Tuesday as we head into Dynamite.
Yeah, that's what it's probably going to have to be. So
we can do that.
Expect an episode Thursday.
The Tuesday I have an event. We'll have to figure it
out. So expect one next Thursday, probably. Maybe a live stream after SmackDown Friday night with some guests, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
And then the following Tuesday. So that is the plan for the future. That's all we got for them now, right?
No doubt, yeah. Make sure you go to otsportsnetwork.com, on Twitter @_OTSN, on Twitter @2SweetKyle2.
Sweet!
and myself at JimTuck89. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark.